Then, without warning, the ground began to move. At first it felt subtle, almost gentle, but within moments, that movement transformed into violent shaking that sent people running for their lives. And then, as if one powerful earthquake was not enough, a second and even stronger quake struck just 1 minute later. Buildings swayed, walls collapsed, dust clouds rose above entire neighborhoods. People fled into the streets as panic spread across the nation. Tonight, we take a closer look at the devastating double earthquake that struck Venezuela, one of the most powerful seismic events the country has experienced in more than a century. We will walk through exactly what happened, hear the stories of those who lived through it, examine the growing emergency response, explore the fears of aftershocks and possible tsunamis, and discuss what this disaster could mean for Venezuela in the days and weeks ahead. This is a story about survival, uncertainty, and the terrifying power of nature. As of June 25, 2026, emergency crews continue assessing the damage while millions remain on edge. Let's begin. To understand the significance of this disaster, we first need to understand Venezuela itself. Located along the northern coast of South America, Venezuela borders the Caribbean Sea and sits in a geologically active region where tectonic forces constantly interact beneath the Earth's surface. Although Venezuela does experience earthquakes from time to time, truly destructive major earthquakes are relatively uncommon compared to some other parts of the world. That is one reason why Wednesday evening's events came as such a shock. For many residents, this was unlike anything they had ever experienced. According to the United States Geological Survey, the first earthquake struck shortly after 6 p.m. local time. The magnitude was measured at 7.1. Its epicenter was located west of the coastal community of Moron, approximately 168 kilometers, or 104 miles, west of Caracas. The quake originated at a depth of roughly 22 kilometers beneath the Earth's surface. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake is already an extremely powerful event. Earthquakes of that size are capable of causing serious structural damage, collapsing older buildings, disrupting transportation networks, and creating widespread fear across large regions. But what happened next made the situation dramatically worse. Just 1 minute later, before people had even processed what was happening, a second earthquake struck. This time, the magnitude was reported at 7.5. The epicenter was located only about 16 kilometers southwest of Moron. The second quake originated at a shallower depth of approximately 10 kilometers. Shallow earthquakes are often felt more intensely at the surface because the seismic energy has less distance to travel before reaching populated areas. The result was devastating. Instead of one major earthquake, residents endured two massive seismic shocks almost back to back. Experts immediately recognized the unusual nature of the event. Many earthquakes generate aftershocks. However, experiencing a second major quake of even greater magnitude only a minute after the first is exceptionally alarming. The combined impact significantly increased the destructive potential. Across Caracas, the effects were immediate. People reported feeling their buildings sway violently from side to side. Residents rushed toward exits. Elevators were abandoned. Stairwells filled with frightened families trying to reach safety. Business owners left their stores. Restaurant patrons ran outside. Drivers stopped their vehicles and looked around in confusion as buildings trembled around them. Some residents described hearing deep rumbling sounds before the most violent shaking began. Others recalled watching furniture crash to the floor inside their homes. Windows shattered. Objects flew from shelves. Entire rooms were thrown into chaos. One of the most dramatic scenes emerged from neighborhoods where portions of buildings collapsed. Witnesses reported seeing entire exterior walls fall away, exposing living rooms, kitchens, and bedrooms to public view. For many residents, it looked like scenes normally associated with major earthquakes in countries that regularly face severe seismic activity. Columns of dust rose into the evening sky. Photographs and videos began appearing online almost immediately. Social media platforms filled with footage showing frightened crowds gathering outside apartment complexes and office towers. Some videos showed people crying. Others captured the sounds of car alarms, emergency sirens, and shouting residents trying to account for loved ones. As daylight faded, thousands remained outside. Many were too afraid to return to their homes. The possibility of aftershocks created an atmosphere of uncertainty. People gathered in open areas, parking lots, parks, and sidewalks. Some sat quietly while staring at damaged buildings. Others called friends and family members to make sure they were safe. Many pet owners held their animals close as dust from damaged structures drifted through the air. Among those who experienced the terrifying moments firsthand was Caracas resident Hector Ritchie. According to his account, the shaking began gradually before becoming increasingly intense. He described how neighbors left their homes and gathered together outside. His story reflects a common experience during major disasters. When confronted with overwhelming uncertainty, communities often come together instinctively. Strangers become sources of comfort. Neighbors become support networks. The shared experience creates an immediate sense of solidarity.